Welcome to What I Eat in a Day Realistic 2000 Calorie Edition with me, Sarah. Oh my gosh, the syrup and the cinnamon together just smells so freaking good. As you can tell, I'm a huge foodie, and I believe that you don't need to sacrifice flavor to lose weight. This morning I started with plain oolong tea with a squeeze of lemon, which honestly is not my typical choice. Usually I like to add a bit of milk and sugar to either coffee or tea, but lately I've been trying to limit my liquid calories a little bit better. Although oolong tea is known as the weight loss tea, I don't drink it for that reason. Believe it or not, I used to work at a tea shop and I just love the flavor. This concoction that I'm working on is actually an old protein pancake recipe that I found years ago, but have modified it for my taste. I add in protein powder, a splash of vanilla, a scoop of cocoa powder, a little bit of cinnamon in the blender. There we go. The original recipe calls for 2 eggs and 1 banana, and that's it. While not awful, I don't exactly like it. The batter turned out quite thin this time, which honestly did catch me off guard. I was a little bit worried about how it was going to spread across the pan, but thankfully they stayed in their place for the most part. My hypothesis for what might have caused this is I only had 1 egg left in my carton, so I had to use egg whites for the second egg, and I wonder if that made it a little bit more runny than usual. And here is the first batch's time to flip. Honestly, there's a lot of recipes that I just fumble through, but I'm going to applaud myself here and say that I know what I'm doing when it comes to protein pancakes on the stovetop. You can't even pretend that those don't look delicious. First bite time. I'm gonna take a bite out of the tip of the heart. Oh my God, it's so good. I could literally just eat this right now. Eat this whole thing. I mean, I'm going to, but I mean like in this setting. Look at that. So I went shopping for groceries, and on the way back, I got super hungry. I wanted to make a snack before my next meal, and I was feeling extra confident after how well the protein pancakes turned out. So I decided to try something totally new, and that is soft-boiled eggs. They're a new addition to an old favorite of mine, which is hummus and avocado on rice cakes. The avocado was definitely not ready to be cut, but at that point, I wasn't gonna waste it, of course. I sprinkled on some feta cheese, and then I cut open the soft-boiled eggs. Not only have I never made a soft-boiled egg in my entire life, I've also never tried one. So, oh, it fell. So this is a day of exciting firsts, and I don't know where to start. I'm gonna go for this one that's already been falling a little bit, and I do already have hummus and egg all over my hands, so it just makes sense that we're both the messy ones. That's pretty yummy. The avocado is definitely not ready to eat, but for dinner I tried out an old salmon fajita recipe that I loved years ago. The old recipe calls for McCormick brand fajita seasoning, and I looked for it for a while, but I never found it, so I ended up having to grab Taco Bell fajita seasoning instead. I zested, squeezed out the lime juice, and added avocado oil to the concoction. Since I was only using half the salmon that the recipe called for, I thought I would be safe with a half batch of the seasoning and oil blend, but I wasn't right. So I put more avocado oil on the salmon, then ended up using my fork to pat on more fajita seasoning. I know this does not look that appetizing. I ended up kind of shredding the salmon as I was taking it out, but honestly, I'm just so happy and so proud of myself that it came out good. Like, I spent way too much time on this. If it came out gross, I would have been really upset. But no, I'm not gonna lie, I've already been snacking on the fajita veggies before, while I was waiting for the salmon to finish, and I did such a good job on this. For dinner, I had a double feature. The first part was sauteed sweet potatoes with a hearty dollop of cottage cheese on top. Sauteing potatoes on the stovetop has become a staple in my diet. I just love the different flavor combinations that I can make. For the longest time, I was doing golden potatoes with scrambled eggs on top, but recently there's been a huge fad with cottage cheese on TikTok, so I tried it with sweet potato and I was amazed. Like most everything that I Frankenstein together, the seasonings that I add to my sweet potato are inspired by an old air fryer recipe. I do careful sprinkles of salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and paprika. After the cottage cheese is placed on top, I add an additional sprinkle of paprika, but that's just more for the looks. The yogurt dish I'm working on, I have dubbed the Apple Almond Parfait. I add some chopped almonds and a few hemp seeds on top. And finally, some popcorn to enjoy with my Netflix show of the evening. Looking at the calorie and macro breakdown, I need to mention that although I track some of the oil I use, I cannot weigh it out and track every drop for mental reasons. I notice that when I try to account for every bit of oil in my diet, I get discouraged and it's unnecessary stress. At the end of the day, all calorie counting, including fractions of fluid ounces on a scale, is estimation. My body is the ultimate tracker. As long as I trust myself to make reasonable choices, I am totally okay with not having an exactly accurate number. It is far more important to me that I enjoy my diet and have a healthy mindset throughout this journey. And now that that's out of the way, let's look at the calorie breakdown for today. I was just 67 calories shy of 2,000, which was my budget for today. The macronutrients turned out a little bit funny, and I suspect that's because of the salmon, avocado, and egg yolk that I had today, which increased my fat count. My grams of protein was just a hair shy of goal, which is 120, but I am satisfied and happy with 110. I don't usually look too much at carbs, but I noticed towards the end of the day that I was running kind of low. I think my typical carb count is around 200 grams a day, so 171 is a little bit lower than usual. If I had a meal plan going into this day, the macro breakdown would have definitely looked a lot different, having quite less fat, a little bit more protein, and more carbs overall. But for a day that I had nothing planned or prepared, I think that this day definitely is a win. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please tell me if you like this kind of content. I already have some other weight loss content like weight loss vlogs and weight loss topics, including advice and discussions over on my channel, so please feel free to check those out as well.